Welcome to my chow line. I'm Tracy Lingle. Join me as we serve up dishes that will sure to please. We will also hear stories related to food and military service. Today we're going to be honoring my brother and his service in Desert Storm. I'll be making a Mexican Cornbread Casserole. Let's get into it. Alright, so now we've come to the part of my show where we talk about a story. We're honoring my brother on this cook. I'm remembering his service. He was a Desert Shield veteran. But I want to go ahead and I usually would smoke a cigar with you, but right now I have a little bit of a sinus thing going on, so I don't want to smoke a cigar, but I will have a drink with you. Some Horse Soldier hooch. Good stuff. Horse Soldier bourbon. This is their straight bourbon. This is their 80th anniversary edition for D-Day. And then this is their small batch. And both of these are signed bottles by some of the ODA 595 guys. So, special bottles. I'm not opening this. This one is going with me to Normandy. This one is actually my son's. I've got one as well, but I think it's up on the shelf. But anyway, so I'm going to show you my brother's story. Cheers. And this is his story. One of my most memorable meals while serving in the 82nd Airborne was in 1990 while in Saudi Arabia during Operation Desert Shield. Our battalion leadership, including company commanders and platoon leaders, drove to locate an alternate defense position near Riyadh. This was in case the Iraqis decided to make a strike at the Saudi capital. Two other platoon leaders and myself, as well as the company commander's driver, were released for about an hour. So we drove along the nearest highway and found a Pakistani restaurant in a concrete building. FYI, the local restaurants were off limits by command, so they pulled around back to avoid being seen. We took turns going inside in pairs to eat our first non-military meal in several months. I bet some of us have been there. Instantly, we knew the food would be worth any scolding we would receive if caught there. Inside, it was dark, and I recall it had a dirt floor. Sounds like a third world country for sure. And a few tables and chairs. There weren't many items on the menu, but we could see and smell curry-flavored chicken baking on an old wood oven. We realized it was being cooked on a bed of rice with broth. To this day, chicken baked in rice holds a special place in my heart and stomach. The funny thing is I was in Saudi Arabia in 2001, nearly 11 years after my brother was there. And I was near Riyadh for a lot of time. I was at Prince Sultan Air Base, so we were in some of the same area in the same country. Didn't get to eat at this restaurant, of course, but it was different then. Man, smelling fresh food after not having it for a while is just, even if it doesn't even even if it's not really all that good, it's going to be amazing because it's fresh and cooked, like grilled. I mean, it could be slightly burnt. It could be fall in the dirt. Somebody's going to pick it up and eat it. It's just really good. Yeah, just those memories that we tie with food, the smells. I mean, our memory compartments were sounds, smells, and things we see. Just the factories in our memory could, just stir that up whenever we smell something. It smells like it. So I get this tremendously. I get this. I love you, brother. I appreciate what you did. I was in elementary school, middle school when he was deployed. 10, 11 years old when he was deployed. I remember it. I got a picture. Maybe I'll share it in this. at the end of this of him in his uniform and me saluting him as he got back. But yeah, if you have any stories, if you have any experiences in the military, food-wise, during a funny thing, an operation, deployment, training mission, whatever it is, please share them. I'm posting these videos separate and also included in the cooking videos, so that way, no matter what, somebody will see them. Take the opportunity to look back on some of the past videos and stories we've shared. This is going to be a fun ride. I know I've already got a few stories have already come in, and I'm just excited to share those with you. But just, you can check me out on Instagram at mychowline. You know, you can send me a message, drop a comment. You can send me an email. Just share those stories, and you can share them in the comments, and we'll just enjoy them in the comments. But anyway, thanks for hanging in with us. Cheers, and I'll check on the meat in just a minute. All right, so we're going to be making a Mexican cornbread casserole. It's basically meat, onions, corn, tomatoes, and cornbread with either a Mexican blend of spices, fajita seasoning, taco seasoning, whatever you prefer. But anyway, we're going to do that. We're going to dice up these 5 sweet Vidalia onions and 6 pounds of ground venison. You can use ground beef, you can use ground turkey, ground pork if you want, whatever your preference is. But we're using ground venison tonight. I've got a big family to feed. You can downsize this a little bit, but I'm making it for a big family, so we'll get back to it once I get all this chopped up and diced and put in the pan. All right, so we got most of these onions done. I'm going to give you a pro tip as well. When you're cutting up your onions, if you leave the root ball on, you'll get less of that crying ninja, onion cutting ninja effect with the eyeball start watering. That's not going to happen with when you do this. And you peel it and then slice it up the way you want. I find that's the easiest way. And then we're going to also put a whole clove of garlic in, and get this meat in here. I'm going to crush and chop up this garlic and throw it in here. Throw in the meat. I've got a little oil in the bottom I put a little peanut oil in the bottom of the pan, just to kind of help with having some extra oil in there, so when this does cook, it won't burn as easily on the bottom, and we'll be able to turn it around and stir it, so we won't have any places that might stick, just to give it an extra little bit of lubrication. But anyway, I'm going to get to chopping this up and put it in here, and we'll get going. All right, so now we've got our onions, garlic, and our 6 pounds of venison. Venison is kind of a lean meat, so I added about maybe a half a stick of butter in here as well to add a little bit of fat in there as well, along with the oil. So now I'm also going to add a generous spoonful of chipotle, diced chipotle peppers. Allow that to help with the marinade of the meat while it cooks. And then we're going to take and do a generous amount of this fajita blend. We want to let this ride and cook, smoke, because we want a little smoke on the seasonings as well, because that helps add some flavor to it as well. A little char maybe. Break this up some. More surface area to get some of that smoke on as it cooks. Don't have to break it up all the way at this point. We'll break it up more as it cooks, but just so you can get some good color and make sure that seasoning gets in there real good. Some people will wait till after they let it get a little smoke on it first, let it start browning before you add any flavor to it. I prefer to do this first. The grill is up at max temp right now. I love living by a main street. Alright, so now that I've got this all done up, I'm going to stir it up real good. Now, a Mexican cornbread casserole is however you want to make it. It's probably the most American thing I've ever. Is to take something that's you know, it's not Mexican. It's just, I mean, it may be, but I doubt it. It's probably the most American thing we've ever done is take something and that's ours and name it somebody else's. Like French fries. Anyway, so mix that up some. Might add a little more seasonings. And don't worry about going too much because we're adding other stuff to it. So the seasonings will get mellowed out by the corn and by the tomatoes when we put them in. So don't worry if you feel like this is too much, don't worry. It probably isn't enough. Use feeling. And then when you get to that feeling, go a little bit more and you're good. Same thing with garlic. It's never enough. If you think you've put too much garlic in, no, add a little bit more and then you're done. All right. So now I'm going to add this to the smoker and we'll let it ride. We'll check back on it in about 15 minutes. We'll stir it up and we'll see where we're at. All right, as you can see, we've had our venison and our onions and garlic with the seasonings and stuff on them smoking for a while now. You got some decent char looking on them. Got some good color in there. It's cooked pretty much all the way. So what we're going to do is start adding our corn and our so we've got some whole kernel corn drained, 4 cans. And then 4 cans of diced tomatoes. And then what we're going to do too is we're going to add some more of this Meat Church fajita seasoning to make sure everything is coated real good. We want plenty of flavor because when we put the cornbread in here, it's going to soak up some of the juices and flavor as well when we do it. We're going to let this smoke for a little bit longer, just to allow some of these veggies to get this corn and tomatoes to get some flavor built into them, so some smoke flavor profile on them. And then we'll add our cornbread mix to the top layer. This is looking really good, smelling really, really good. All right, so we'll level that out a little bit, let it get some smoke flavor on it, and we'll go. I'm gonna go get the. While this is continuing to smoke a little bit, I'm going to get the cornbread mix. Go ahead and make the batter up for a self-rising cornbread mix. I'm doing 2 bags, and then we'll pour it over the top and let it rise once this has gotten some smoke on it. So we'll continue to let this cook and check back in a little bit. All right, so this has been smoking for about 15 minutes after I've added the tomatoes and the corn. So I've mixed up my cornbread mix, and now I'm going to add some cheese to it. So you mix the cornbread up per the instructions, and then you're going to add, I've got some Oaxaca, some Mexican blend cheese. We're going to mix this in. You want to mix that in really good. Make sure you get the cheese all in, mixed in really well. Once you feel like you got it mixed in, then you can take and spread it out over the top of this. This will rise above the edge of your pan, but that's okay. We want to make sure we get it spread out over the top of the pan everywhere, because this is going to be like a layered cake, basically. It's a casserole. And you can do some wild stuff with this. You could add some jalapenos. You could substitute a little bit of the liquid, like this called for milk. You could substitute some of the milk for jalapeno juice. And you could put some, pickled jalapenos in it. You could put fresh jalapenos in with the veggies when it's cooking, because that would be amazing. But I have kids and a wife, and not everybody likes spice in this house, so I got to be careful with how much I put in spice wise. But you can make it however you want. The idea is you want to spread this out over everything. Try to make it even as possible. It may or may not be easy to get it even. Alright, so this was 2 packages. This is a gluten-free cornbread mix, because you would think cornbread is gluten-free generally because it shouldn't have flour in it, but most of your pre-made cornmeal mixes that are self-rising have flour in them and wheat. So I have to make sure that I'm using a gluten-free version of cornbread. So we're going to spread this out a little bit. And then we're going to continue this cooking. 300, we're going to try to bump the fire up a little bit to about 300 to 350 degrees to try to let this cornbread cook. One, it's going to help cook the juices are going to bubble up through it and help, cook it from the bottom. But also, it's going to brown the top. You're going to add that nice smoky flavor to it. So it'll be really good. So we're going to let this ride. I'm going to add a few more pieces of wood to the fire and some little more charcoal and get it going and see if we can't get this temperature up, get this thing cooked. And we'll check on it in about 15-20 minutes and see where we're at. All right, after probing with a toothpick to make sure that the cornbread is done, make sure it comes out clean, I then added cotija, Mexican style grated cheese on the top of it, and then we'll let that melt, and then it'll be ready. All right, so I pulled it off. Everything's kind of melted down and got a nice good crust on it. We're going to take a look at this, and we'll serve it up, and we'll do a taste test in just a second. Oh yeah. Good cornbread, good meat mixture underneath there. Get a little more of that meat and veggies. Oh yeah. Get a little sour cream. Man, yeah, look at that. All right, so let's give it a taste test. We let it cool off a little bit. Get a little bit of that sour cream, a little bit of the cornbread mix, a little bit of the meat. Oh, wow. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I don't think I'm going to be able to stop that. Whatever you call it, whether you call it Mexican Cornbread Casserole, or whether you just call it Conbread Casserole, that's really good. I don't know if the smoke texture helps out so much more, or it's because it's venison, or because of all the other flavors, the seasonings and all. It's just really good. It's got a lot of things going on. You got the creaminess from the sour cream. You got a little bit of that cheese. You got the smokiness. You've got the crunch from some of the vegetables, and some of the crust from the cornbread. I mean, you can see the smoke on the meat as well. It's just, man, it's really good. It's got just enough saltiness, just enough savoriness, just enough sweetness, creaminess. The textures are all right. Man, this is really good. So I hope you all give this a shot. I hope you've enjoyed this cook. Please like and subscribe. Share it with everyone you know. And come back for more. We'll have more stories. Thank you so much for coming to my chow line. Thank you so much.